This time around, we're making a holster and belt set. It's going to be for a 3-inch end frame. Actually, it's going to be for a 3-inch L frame, but the person I'm making this for tried her 3-inch L frame in a 3-inch end frame holster that I made, and she liked the way it fits. And she wants one just like it, so by golly, that's what she's going to get. But it's going to be a holster and belt set. I've got the bits for the holster all cut out. And you can see that's the main holster body there. Got the welt that's going to go along this edge, right there. This piece is going to go here. And the snaps are going to be attached to this piece. And then it's going to be glued and stitched to the outside of the holster. That way the snaps, the backside of the snaps won't be on the inside of the holster, and there won't be any chance of them scratching the gun. The hold down strap, let me find this. I got it marked out here where it goes on the backside here, right there. So that'll go like that, that'll go like that. This will go here. And I can't hold the welt in too, but yeah, just for this purpose, this is fine. It doesn't really need to have a welt on it. I just like the way it looks, honestly. But the hold down strap is going to come right across the back side of the hammer there and snap down right here with 2 snaps to help to keep it secure. And that's basically how it's going to go. However, the first thing I'm going to do is work on the belt. Set these aside for now. The belt's going to be double layers, so I've already cut 2 straps. One's going to be glued and stitched to the other, fuzzy side to fuzzy side. So you'll have a nice smooth belt on either side, and it'll be really pretty. Let me see here. I got a brass buckle to go with it, because I believe that brass goes well with brown. And if you're doing silver, I think that silver goes well with black leather, and brass goes well with any kind of brown, like saddle tan or whatever color dye you use, or you can get it pre-dyed. Right now, I got all the leather cut except for the belt keeper. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now with my handy dandy utility knife. This knife is stropped. You can change the blades in them, but as they come from the factory, I don't think they're sharp enough. They need to be sharpened a little bit more and stropped, and that'll give them a really nice, keen, sharp edge. And anything that'll help cut through leather is a good thing. But right now I'm cutting the keeper strap, or rather the strap for the keeper loop. And there you go. We set this aside. I'm going to need this. This is going to be this part here, where you come around and you attach your belt, and that slips on. That's going to be that part. It's 3/4 of an inch wide, which is pretty good size. But first, before I get any further on that, I'm going to take one of these straps. First I'm going to see which one's prettier, because even though I'm going to dye it, the features of the natural cow skin will show through the dye. So this one has less variations in it, and this will be the outside piece. Get my little cutting board here, and there it is. I'm going to use my strap end punch to cut the strap end. But first I'm going to take my dividers, if I can find them. I know they're somewhere in this house. There. And find the center of this strap so I can get this point center. Now I know they're about 3/4 of an inch. It's a 1/2 inch wide, 1.5 inch wide strap. So I'm going to set these at 3/4 of an inch and see how close I come. Okay, these are at 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to set it right there in the middle and check this side, and then check on this side, and it looks like I'm centered. That'll give me a point or a mark to put this point to get that centered when I go to cut the strap. Set that on there and check the other end. It does take some eyeballing. In fact, I could just eyeball this punch instead of marking it, but marking it gives me a little bit more accuracy. I just moved all over the place, and it gives me a little bit more accuracy when I go to cut that end. So that looks good right there. And you take my mallet and there you go. Now this is going to be the buckle end, but the other end of the belt's going to have the same shape to it. I like doing it that way. It keeps it more symmetrical. I don't know. Just one of the things I like doing. So that's this, and now we got to determine where we're going to put our hardware to hold this together. Set that over there. To hold this together, I'm going to use some brass screw posts. These little things, it has a little screwy end on one end and a little posty end at the other end that the screwy end screws into. I'm just setting that there, just long enough to pick me a punch. Let's see, I think that was too big. Actually, I'm gonna need to get my bigger set. That's not big enough. Not quite. And that's too big. So I tell you what, I'm going to use this one because I don't want it too big. I want it just right. By using screw posts, it can be taken apart and the buckle could be changed if the person prefers a different buckle. So that's pretty groovy. Oh geez, I'll get this back out. Put this back here. Now this one I will eyeball. Let me stand up so I can get a better look at it. So I'll just take and I'll push it, which will make a slight impression in the leather. And it looks good to me, so I'm going to put it where I made my slight impression. And punch a hole. Now this is the material I got for my belt keeper. And the next mark's going to go, well, the next hole is going to be right about there, but I am going to take my dividers and center that up. because I don't really have a point of reference to eyeball it. Okay, that's good. Give that a little push, make a little hole. Center my punch over the hole. And again, I'll just make a impression. So I can take the punch off, take a look at it, make sure that the hole looks centered. Then go ahead and bang it on through. And there you go, another hole. And that gives me enough room for my belt keeper to go through. And it won't move around a lot, so it'll stay put. Now, next thing I gotta do is cut the slot for the buckle, for this little tonguey bit to come through. And again, well, let me put my punch away. I'm done with this punch down. That must be a fresh piece of leather. Keeps trying to crawl off my bench. I'm going to use my big punch. Yeah. And I'm also going to need my chisel. Excuse me. Okay, this is how I'm going to cut that slot. And again, first thing I'm going to do is just eyeballing it. I want this to be relatively close to the end of the buckle so that doesn't flop around a lot. About that'll do. I'm going to eyeball it in. Let's see. Right about there should be just fine. And again, make sure that's centered. Take my chiseler. And the other end is going to be right at the end of that chisel mark. And right there. Take this punch, do the same thing. Make an impression. And that looks good right there. Whoa! That's one thing, I got stuff jumping on me when I do that. Over the years, I accumulate more and more dies and stuff and knives and glue guns. It's sitting kind of precariously balanced up there. Got a hole there. I'm going to do the same thing here. That looks good right there. And I got a hole on the other side. Now, next thing I'm going to do is connect the dots with my chisel. This way I can make slots any size, any width, any length. I got 3 different chisels that I use for this. Just push that in. And I cut that side of the slot. I'm going to flip this around and do the same thing on the other side. Bring it right up to the edge of the holes. And there we go. Do it the other way actually. There's your bit out the middle, and there's your slot. Now it's going to take a little bit of cleaning up on the slot to get it just right. Okay, there's your buckle. It's going to go in here, sit there. This is going to fold over. And I need to center this so that I can mark it and punch the other two holes. And it looks pretty much centered right there. Yeah, I do a lot of this by eyeball because it doesn't really matter what the distances are. You know, you don't have to be like exactly an inch, exactly a half inch, exactly this, exactly that. You just eyeball it. And I was like, well, that looks like enough room. That looks about right. And then you go ahead and put it all together. Now let's go sit there. Check that, make sure I am centered. There we go. I'll take my awl. And mark it here. Okay. And then mark it up here. Oh, that's off. Yeah. Set that up a little bit. Okay. Keep this keep this buckle protected so it doesn't get scratched up. That's up to the end user to do, is to scratch it up and, you know, enjoy using the product, the finished product. So I'm going to take my awl. Well, first of all, again, I'm going to make sure that that's centered. That one is. That one's centered. Take my awl and bang the hole on through. And that shows me where I need to punch the holes on the other side. Okay, now I need to find my punch. Where did I put it? Yeah, I know, I should have kept it out. Okay. There's that hole. Now I'm going to double check this one because my eyeball might be a little bit off. And I want that feller centered. Okay. It's good. I think it's my eyeballs that are off a little bit. And that's got that other hole. Alright, now we're going to do a quick assembly of it and see how it looks. Let me get that buckle. Make sure everything's right before we go any further on it. Dang little Ziploc bags. So again, this goes here. I'll go ahead and put one of these in here. Oh yeah, that fits just right. Let me get a screwdriver. I'll be right back. I'm back. Did you miss me? So anyway, that'll go in there. And this piece will go here. Obviously, it's the other side of the screw post. I'm not going to crank them down, just enough to hold it temporarily. This piece for the belt keeper will go in here. And then the second screw post goes here. Okay, there you go. And there you go, that's this end together. So that all fits together well. Now, normally on a single layer belt, I will skive the inside of this piece just to make it a little bit slimmer, a little less bulk on it. But on a double layer belt, I don't, because... Well, I might skive it down a little. Actually, I think I will skive it down a little bit just to make it a little bit neater. There's going to be this end here. It's going to be on the inside, so this thickness will match this thickness. But I'm probably going to skive that down a little bit anyway. Why? Because I think I should. So now that we've got all of our holes punched, our slot punched, and everything there ready, let me get this out. Hang this other piece out. Get the buckle out. Keep it protected. Love these little mason jars. One of the benefits of having an Italian wife is she gets red sauce and all kind of different colored sauces, and they come in those little jars that are just the right size. So anyway, let me do a bit of skiving on this. My skiver. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to skive this whole area. I'm just going to thin this down a little bit, because the idea is on the inner layer I'm going to skive this end down so it blends in. Instead of becoming a blunt sharp cut, it'll be more like to where it gets up to the true double thickness. And I'm going to do the same thing on this end to match that. I just like doing it that way better. basically all a skiver is a razor blade with a all this skiver is a razor blade with a handle. There are different kind of skivers out there, but with my neurological condition, this one seems to work best for me. So, like I said, I'm not going to do a lot. I'm just going to thin it a little bit. Just to give it a little bit of a contour, because I still need to have a lot of thickness for the screw posts, so I don't want to take that down too far. I'm going to thread lock those screw posts anyway, just to make sure they don't move around, you know, get loose. And when you skive something, you got these fuzzy bits at the end. That's easy enough to take care of. Now I'm not going to do any edge work or anything else until I have these two sewn together. Then I'll or at least glue together. Yeah, I'm going to glue them together and then do more edge work on them. I'm going to do the edge beveling, the stitch groove, and lay out all the stitch holes on it once these two are glued together. Let's see now. I gotta take care of that a little bit. So I'm going to work on this a little bit more, and we'll come back and see how far I've gotten. Hey, we're back. Here's where I am on the belt. Like I said, I took the inner piece and I skived it down, skived that end, and the idea is instead of it coming out at a hard edge, it'll blend in, so you won't have a big lump of leather there. And I just prefer to do it that way. Okay, with the belt keeper itself, there's some people when they do a belt keeper, they'll just take and they'll butt the two ends together and put a couple staples in and call it done. No, I don't like that. Others, they'll do the same thing. They'll butt it and then they'll loop some stitches across there. I don't like that either. What I prefer to do is to take the two ends, that end and that end, skive them so it's roughly about half the thickness, fold it over, and then glue that and stitch it. That makes it very, very strong. Way stronger than it needs to be. That's the way I prefer it. But you can see from the skiving, let me line these up here, that this side is about the same thickness as this side. So again, you don't have a big lump of leather there. And I guess that other people try to get away without doing any skiving by doing that thing where they just butt up the ends of it. Well, the next step is going to be to put some dye right there and then glue these two pieces together. And after they're glued together, it's time to size it and cut it to length, and then do all the other work, all the cutting of the stitch groove, the punching the stitch holes, edge beveling, dyeing the whole thing, doing all the edge work and the stitching. And then the belt will be done. And then at the same time, the holster is ready for dye. So that's the next step. Well, speaking of skiving, with the hold down strap, that's also skived down. Reason is, that's sitting inside the belt loop. Okay, that's going to go there, and then the belt loop's going to loop over top of it, and it's going to be sized for an 1.5-inch belt. Not sure exactly, probably it's going to be like right about there or so. Let's see. My belt's an 1.5 inch. My belt's a double layer 1.5-inch belt, so I use it for such things. Yeah. It'll sit right about there, and then it'll be molded around the belt. But like I said, basically a line of dye, glue this, and then do all the other work that I said before. So let's go ahead and get on that. And once this is ready and I get the glue on it, I need to leave it sit for a little while for that glue to get good and hard, because the glue will hold it while I'm working on it, and I don't want the pieces shifting. And again, we'll be back.